Hello, dear Wine Fortune podcast followers. We are in here with next episode, and I'm glad that we can make it together with a producer from quite far from Estonia. So we have today guest from Viña Almaviva, Felipe. Hello.
Thank you very much. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, fine. So how has been your travels in Europe? I heard that you have been already with several countries. How long trip has been already?
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Risto, for having me here. And hope that we will have some good time talking together. And yes, indeed, we have been in Europe for the last 2 weeks. I'm leaving tomorrow to Chile, back home. It's a long flight. But yes, we started in France at Bordeaux. We made a big tasting there, 3 tastings actually, with all our French partners, all the negociants we work with. And then we moved to London and did a nice wine dinner with the family owners' presence. So we counted with the Felipe Feliu S, Julien de Bulmarché from Baron Philippe, and from Conchitoro, Rafael Gilisasti. And we had a nice dinner there. And now traveling between Vienna, Berlin, and finally here in Estonia. So the best for the last.
Very good. Good to hear. So maybe from the beginning, can you share a little bit your journey in the wine world and how came part from Almaviva?
Sure. Well, I was lucky enough to have a friend that was working in Almaviva during those years. I'm thinking about the year 2008. And I didn't have any experience about the wine. I was working for another company, completely different, more in the finance world of Walmart, so a supermarket. And he offered me this opportunity of coming to be part of the team of Almaviva, and I said, okay, I would love to, but I don't have any experience in the wine world. He told me it's not necessary, and I applied, and I'm here after roughly 14 years with Almaviva.
Very good. So most of the followers maybe don't know too specifically about Viña Almaviva, but we have definitely also followers who have also already tried your amazing wines. But maybe describing a little bit how Viña Almaviva was born and how has been the journey until today, a little bit of the development of the company.
Well, Almaviva is a very unique and special project coming from Chile. Everything began with Baron Philippe de Rothschild when he created, founded Baron Philippe with Chateau Mouton in 1853. And then he wanted to replicate this French project in another part of the world and travel to California to create Opus 1 with Robert Mondavi, following the same chateau concept or philosophy of being focused in the production of one label or first label and the second label, Grand Van and Second Van. So he went to California and made this joint venture with Robert Mondavi, and Opus 1 was born with Opus 1 as the Grand Van and Overture as the Second Van. But then his daughter, the Baroness Philippine, she wanted to do something of her and wanted to replicate this same concept in another part of the world. So imagine she could have chosen for many, many different parts of the world, maybe more famous than Chile, like, I don't know, Italy, or Spain, or the big names. Well, she decided to make this project in Chile. So it was an honor because she believed that Chile was not only capable of producing more good value wines that Chile is more well known of, but also for being capable of producing ultra high-end wines like Almaviva. So Almaviva was born in 1987. The partnership was a deal between, of course, Baron Philippe and Conchitoro from Chile. Conchitoro today is the biggest winery from Chile, from South America, and is top 3-4 in the world in terms of size. So we have 2 very strong partners with a lot of wine knowledge behind Almaviva.
Mm-hmm. So what sets also Viña Almaviva part of other brands in Chile? Like what makes it so special?
Well, first, this partnership with one of the best wine producers in the world. More than a partnership or a joint venture, we like to say this is a very profound alliance between these wine families. We combine the best of two worlds here and the best of two cultures. So from Chile, you're getting all the power of nature, basically the terroir, because the wine is being done in Chile, is being produced in Chile. But we get from the French and from Baron Philippe all the know-how, the savoir-faire of making Chateau Mouton, so we can't complain. We have a very strong French partner, and that, by the way, very involved in the project since day one. We can say that Almaviva has been kept in original way as the day it started, with both families still behind the company. I'm very involved, as I mentioned before. And the other thing that makes Almaviva special is that we are the only winery following the chateau concept of being really focused since day one in the production of one wine. Uh-huh. Although we do have a second wine as well, which is called Epu, but the grand vine is Almaviva. So everything that surrounds Almaviva is oriented in the production of these wines. We have one cellar, one commercial team, one technical team. All the vineyards are owned by Almaviva, oriented to the production of only one wine.
And when you already thought about like a partnership with the French famous names, how much like a wine producing process is influenced by French making influence or processes, and how much you continue to use maybe Chile local traditions?
I would say that this is more French-driven vinification process, because again, Chile contributes more with the land, with the climate, with the terroir. France, since the beginning, has been involved in the winemaking process and techniques. You know, we started in 1997, even though the first vintage of Almaviva is 1986. But we started with a French winemaker, Patrick Leon, the winemaker of Mouton. So you can imagine the techniques he brought with him to Chile. And one of the first wineries from Chile really being made through the French savoir-faire. So France contributes with this, with the knowledge and the know-how. So until today, I believe we are very French-oriented, because all that we use are French barrels, of course, etc. So we keep following the same way of vinification, of course, with some modifications along the years, but definitely the know-how is still coming from France.
Mm-hmm. And is this also partnership, thanks to these names, like a main influence when we talked about why Almaviva is a very important wine for the collectors and for the fine wine lovers, or what has been like a main factors why Almaviva has raised important part of the collections in the wine lovers?
I believe when you start doing a good job, at the end it's translated into a good wine and to a good history, pedigree, position. I think Almaviva has reached or has gained worldwide positioning in the fine wine world. And we have seen many people, of course, keeping the back vintages of Almaviva for investment purposes, and it's working. And I think it's because we have been doing a good job in all these years, and we have reached this position because of something, because of always having this scarcity sensations and in the market. Of course, the production of Almaviva at the beginning were not as big as the ones we are producing right now. I'm not saying that today they are big. I would say we're mid-size. But yes, I mean, today, for me, it's very difficult to sell back vintages, and that's a headache because what we do, we basically sell one wine, which is Almaviva, now two with Epu. But normally when you do events, they're all focused in verticals, and that means bad vintages. And I'm always sweating a little bit because I need to find those bottles from our libraries, and they are getting shrinker, and this library is getting smaller every year. But there's always still room for doing some special sales here and there. So if you are able to find these back vintages, first, I will be the first one to be interested in purchasing them. But if you have some back vintages, definitely it's a good investment for you. I've seen it in person, and anything that you could find older than 2014, I think you have something special in your hands, even 15. So yes, we're in this process of trying to keep showing the wines to as much as people as possible, and through verticals. But yes, I'm having this problem of not being able to do as much as I can because of this reason.
So when you also think about and look the possibilities to scale your production, as you also told that you have like a limit in somewhere. So from the one side, what's specific terroir of Puente Alto, and why it is so special for producing world-class Cabernet Sauvignon? And other side of the question, how much you see that you could also in the future increase the volume, or you have like already limited right now production?
Yes. Well, Puente Alto is a part of Maipo Valley. We are really close to, we are now part of the city of Santiago, the capital from Chile. We are 45 minutes from the center of Chile, from Santiago, so we are very close to the city, easy to reach and to visit. But this place, Puente Alto, has been recognized for more than 25, 30 years for being the best place for growing the Cabernet Sauvignon. So that's why the heart of the blend of Almaviva will always be Cabernet Sauvignon, and we will not change that. Ranging between 60 to 75% of the blend will be this variety. And then as the second most relevant variety will be Carmener, very typical from Chile as well, and Cabernet Franc. But this place is unique because it combines the climate and the soil. So we're just in front of the Maipo Canyon. We're at the foot of the Andes Mountains, roughly 650 meters above sea level. And as I was saying, in front of this Maipo Canyon that concentrates all the cool winds coming from the Andes Valley, so the Andes Mountains to the valley, more during the morning and afternoon, and then later you start feeling the influence of the cool winds coming from the ocean to the valley as well. You know, Chile is more than 4,000 kilometers long, but it's like this, it's very thin. So we can have this access of the cool winds of going back and forth. Mm-hmm. So this makes us to have 2 to 3 Celsius degrees less than other valleys from Chile, meaning that we have a slower ripening process. We now finish harvesting 2, maybe 3 weeks after other valleys from Chile, which is something that we really like because you can play with the ripeness and the freshness at the same time. And you are in this sweet spot of having both things at the same time. I think you are in heaven for the red wines. And I think that Puente Alto and the specific location where we are give us these characteristics. So we can enjoy in Almaviva ripe wines, but at the same time fresh. And talking about the soils, unique for the Cabernet Sauvignon because we have a lot of the drainage in the soils, a lot of roundstones, pebbles influenced by the river that is 4 to 5 kilometers south from Almaviva. So the drainage is huge. I mean, this is the place for the Cabernet Sauvignon, maybe not the place for the Merlot, because, I don't know, the Merlot likes more to retain the soils more humid. The Cabernet doesn't. So I think this combination of the soil with the terroir, with the weather, and the climate and this freshness of the winds, etc., makes this place unique and one of the best in the world for the Cabernet Sauvignon specific.
Very good. And about the volume of the production?
Yes. And going into that question, yes, we have been able to increase our production along the years. We just finished an extension of the cellar last December, almost one year ago. And so, of course, we have plans in trying to keep increasing the production of Almaviva. Almaviva has been growing in the different markets. Of course, we are willing to keep in that direction. So yes, we still have room of increasing our production. So yeah, we made that big investment very recently.
Oh, good. You already mentioned about the markets. So which markets are increasing for you when you think about the export numbers, and which markets have been changed in the last about 20 years? When you look at the first years where you focused probably in France and US maybe also, but how has been conditions changed on the markets?
Yes. Almaviva historically has been doing a very good job in Asia. At the beginning, I would say that our top markets in Asia were Japan and South Korea. Then, because of the size and the popularity that Almaviva started to gain along the years, mainland China took the #1 position. So it's very, very strong for us is China, Hong Kong. We still do very good in South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, Singapore, more in the Southeast Asia. So Asia for us is a very strong market, I have to say. In Europe, you mentioned, France, of course, is there, but also probably, like for many brands in the world, the UK and Switzerland, our big markets are big markets for Almaviva. Germany as well today is struggling a little bit more, and the US has always been important for us as well, ranging between 20% of what we do worldwide is in the US. But if there's one market that today is surprising us, is Brazil. Our neighbor in South America. A market that has been growing every year, doesn't stop, and where Almaviva is extremely well positioned, I have to say. We are very well received every time we go there, so we like going, especially our winemaker that loves to go there at least 3 times a year. And it's a big market, It's a market that has almost the population of the U.S. market. So we want to keep it as a good market. But today we are also looking after exploring the new places or push markets less explored, like many countries from Southeast Asia. That's why we just hired a new lady working for us based in Singapore to help us push more of that region. And yeah, those are probably, and also we're trying to look after what's going on more in Central America. Those markets are not the best markets where our main French distributors, which are the negociants. And by the way, that's another big difference that I forgot to mention, is that Almaviva, what makes Almaviva a little bit different from the rest, is that Almaviva was the first wine in the world to be commercialized through La Place, being a wine outside from Bordeaux. So that was part of the plan of the Baroness Philippine. This wine has to be a top wine and has to be commercialized through La Place. But La Place does not sell wines outside from France, so how can we do it? Well, she pushed a little bit, and we were able to make it. So
very interesting to know. And when you talked already about Asia, is it also affected for you when we see that the mainland China has been quite affected, struggling a little bit economical situation right now in last 1 or 2 years? have you seen also the impact for your export amount, or as you told already about Germany right now is a little bit more difficult, and perspective of the lookout of the next year is also for Germany a little bit struggling, but or which market you have seen like most influence depending of the economical situation, depending of the market?
I would be lying if I tell you that the mainland has been or remained the same. No, definitely. I would say that almost every market in the world are struggling. Asia, of course, has a bigger impact in Almaviva, but still we're doing good. We can't complain. But for what we were used to, definitely we have seen that markets are more sluggish, are more slow, are more concerned, more price sensitive. And China, Hong Kong, Japan, which is a very conservative market as well, are slow, and not something that is happening for Almaviva only. I have seen it for every fine wine or brand in the world. So, and Europe is not an exception as well. So, UK and Switzerland still there, but much slower than before. So I think we are in a process of the economies that are going through difficult moments, geopolitical issues. Very well and better than me about these wars in nearby, etc. So not the best times for the fine wine category, I would say. Perhaps the other wine categories are doing better now. We did extremely well during the post-pandemic and pandemic years, and I believe probably many markets got crazy about this and start buying. And today, what we are facing is that we have some more inventories that wanted in the different countries, and that is affecting, of course, the demand.
Yeah, because we have heard the same from different producers that COVID time still was quite good because people still gathered in personal way, maybe not so much anymore publicly in the different vinoteques and clubs and pubs and so on, but yeah, still like a private parties and so on. It was still in race. But when you look also like a future perspective, how you see when we go forward also from this question about climate changes and so on, but first from the market conditions, how you see like a perspective of the Asian market, and example, okay, Europe, we know also more about that quite a lot could be affected depending of the tariffs from the US with Europe and so on. But from the Asia side, which parameters would be like a most influential what we could follow to see that there is more upside coming from the Asian market, or how you see that, which signs for you are showing that maybe China is coming back, or other Asian markets are coming back? What you are hoping to see, is there like need some like a trade policy changes or something else what could raise the demand from these markets?
That's a good question and difficult to answer. I would remain with the part of the hope because it's difficult to know what's going to happen. But definitely, from my point of view, I believe that things will rebound. Today, probably we're going through a very difficult moment, and I'm not really sure if we reach the bottom of the line. But the rebounding is coming. I'm not really sure when, and I'm not also sure about if it's going to rebound as good as it was during years, I don't know, during the pandemic or post-pandemic. But things need to get better. They will get better. I mean, today everyone is a little bit concerned and afraid and was waiting for the storm to pass. Maybe when things could chill down a little bit, again, in terms of political problems between countries and the economies start to get better, this will come again. From my point of view, it will always be a good thing to refuge in investment like wine and other tools as well. But if you always have something special in your hand, a special format, a special back label, something that no one or few people has, from a well-known, renowned brand that could be not only Almaviva but many others, of course, it will be a good tool of investment. So
you have to offer some speciality,
definitely,
extraordinary from others.
Today is more difficult because you find more inventories in the market of the most current vintages. Probably the past two are more present. So maybe now is more difficult. But if you have something, as I mentioned, I really appreciate having back vintages of Almaviva, and I work for Almaviva, so you can imagine that many people that are willing to buy a 2010, 2012, or even below that, I don't have it, so you can imagine that you have something special in your hands, so you're capable, and you are lucky enough to open a wine of those years. Feel lucky.
Okay. Good insight. What do you think about how much climate changes have been affected already of the production? How much you have been changed your methods or techniques? And how you see look out for the future, because when I'm looking into maybe Burgundy regions, it was also quite a difficult vintage this year, and the next year is coming much lower volume on the market and so on. There was a drought 3 years in a row in Piemonte regions and so on. So how you see from your region how the climate changes have been affected, and what's the future perspective?
Well, everyone have seen how the weather has been changing along the years, and if there's one probably issue at Almaviva, and I would say in Chile in general, is the drought problem that Chile has been facing for the last 13 years, roughly. We are lucky because we have different ways of irrigation. By the way, if people don't know, but in Chile it's allowed to irrigate, and for Almaviva it's not an option, it's an obligation. The average rainfall in Santiago is roughly 300, 350, 40 millimeters of rainfall in a whole year. We have been receiving 200, 100 something, even less than 100 millimeters, like in vintage 99, 2020, 69 millimeters of rainfall in year 2020. That's a desert, because if you're in a place that receives less than 150, you're in a desertic place. So you can imagine only 69. So we were like this, to be restricted in the consumption of water for humans, for rinsing your car, for showering, etc. We were lucky enough to have 2 to 3 years that have been able to recover these resources through snow in the mountains. We depend a lot of the snow. So Almaviva has these channels that goes from the mountains to the valley and crosses the vineyard of Almaviva. So our main source of water are the melting snow. And then we have also 2 deep wells, just in case of emergency, that feeds a reservoir of water that we have at the vineyard as well. So we can play with all these 3 water sources to irrigate. But of course we do a very dry irrigation, very specific, etc. So what we miss definitely is rainfall. And it affects also the deficit of rainfall also affects the plants, because you will never replace natural rainfall through irrigation, because the soils at the end start concentrating minerals, and the plants feel this as well. So once in a while you need to wash the floors, and for that we need the rainfall. So yeah, the climate weather changing has affected us, but we haven't felt it in such a bad way, because we have been able to irrigate. If we didn't have this, well, that would be another story. And many wineries from Chile also are moving more to the south of Chile, which is you have more rain and cooler temperatures. So that's a sign as well. But still, we have not reached like or we're not near a critical point in that regard about the climate changing.
So maybe then in the future perspective, we could see that if in Bordeaux like there is not allowed irrigation, that maybe after 10 years, when the average temperature is already a few years higher than in Chile, is much better in position in the worldwide market to offer like Bordeaux blend wines as compared with the Bordeaux. So let's see what future is showing to us.
In terms of, and if I may, because probably you will see that you're talking about the future and the future plans for Almaviva. I have to be honest that we are not willing to do any crazy thing in the coming years. Maybe never say never, but we are still very loyal to the original project of this chateau concept of the focused in the grand van and second van. And for the moment, no plans in our head of doing a sparkling or a white wine. But we always ask ourselves, what if we do something else? But no, not for the moment.
So, and for the end, when you would choose out maybe two special vintages for you, which ones you would take out and suggest for the dinner from your history?
Two is too little. I need more. I do have some special vintages that in terms of my personal taste, but also we have some iconic vintages in Almaviva story, like 1998, which was considered a very bad vintage at the beginning with a lot of rainfall. 800 millimeters of rainfall, which was, for us, that's a disaster. And results that today is one of the most favorite vintages we like to show and that people likes. So you never know with how the wines evolve in time. But yeah, 98 could be one of those special vintages. 2015 and 2017 are iconic vintages for us because we were scored 100 points for these two vintages, and for one specific critic he chose the wine of the year with vintage. Yes, yeah. 2015 and 2017. Besides the 100 points, we were chosen the wine of the decade. So you can imagine what that means. I mean, his best or favorite wine from 10 years, it's incredible. So those are iconic as well. Which one else? Maybe 2021, because of the quality of the tannins that is absolutely gorgeous, wonderful, so elegant, smooth, velvety. And 2022, which was the vintage we just released in September of this year. It's showing absolutely wonderful, and it shares very similar profile as 2021 in terms of the quality of the tannins. It's a wine that you can enjoy today for sure, and that I would say is another main characteristic of Almaviva, that if there's one thing that Michel Friou, the winemaker, he's been with Almaviva since 2007, takes care of, are the quality of the tannins. The tannins must be round, smooth, velvety, and the wine has to be as elegant as possible. So I would definitely recommend to buy some Almaviva 2022 to try it today, and leave it in your cellar to try it in some decades after.
And if someone finds from the market 98, then it could be like good to...
anything, 98, 99, 03, 05, 2010 and 9 was wonderful as well.
Yeah.
So any back vintage, again, as I mentioned before, 2014, grab it.
So you mentioned also a quite interesting point that you have a winemaker right now, beginning of 2007. When you compare vintages before his period and previous winemaker, what has been like a main difference of the handwriting of wines from the previous one? And
we have only 3 winemakers involved in the history of Almaviva. So the first winemaker was Patrick Leon, the winemaker of Chateau Mouton, and then we had Todd Mostero from 2004. So Patrick Leon since the beginning until 2004. Then Todd Mostero from 2004 to 2007. Todd Mostero then he went to work to Napa Valley to Dominus, and he's still being the winemaker there. And then Michel Friou arrives in 2007 until today. There's a mixture of things, of course, and it's very difficult to compare because the wine has been aging in bottle and has been evolving and changing. So there are some things that we have been changing along the years, and just easy things to say, because you know the terroir every year better and better, and Michel has been improving and we believe trying to do at least better wines every year because he understands the terroir better and better. And one thing is this quality of the tannins that he has been able to achieve, which is incredible. And also, well, some winemaking techniques like, timing oak. At the beginning, Almeida used to be 100% new French oak.
Okay.
Maybe toast mid plus, so more presence of the barrel in the winemaking.
So the oak influence was the beginning more than compared to
I would say yes.
now.
It was more present than today. Today we are using
more fruity
new French oak, but not 100%. We are between 70 to 85% of new French oak for Almaviva.
Okay.
And a little bit of second use barrels for Almaviva. While for the second label, Epo, we are using, it's like all the way around, because we use 90% of second use barrels with just a 10% of new French oak.
Okay. But thank you. It was a very interesting discussion with you, and I hope our followers got also a quite interesting insight about Chile winemaking process, your history of the Viña Almaviva. So thank you very much, and thank you for all the followers. So until the next episode.
Thank you once again, and hopefully to see you and whoever wants to come to Chile. Feel free to come. You're more than invited. Happy to receive you there. And by the way, we just opened the winery for tourism, and we were closed for many years. And after this big remodelation, we reopened. We did an underground tunnel that connects the cellar with the house. So it's very interesting. Wow. So if you decide to go to that far part of the world named Chile, please reserve some time for visiting us. So more than welcome.
The invitation has been sent. So everyone who can go to Chile, you have a good possibility to discover Viña Almaviva.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.